The alarm screamed like 1,000 suns exploding at once. Red lights flickered violently along the corridors of the mining colony, casting jagged shadows over metal walls. Sparks jumped from broken conduits, sending showers of light across the frightened faces of the crew. Something had escaped, and the sound of its movement shook the floor beneath them. Jirin, a young technician with grease-streaked hands and a steady mind, froze in the hallway. He could hear the low rumbling growl before he saw it, a vibration in the walls, deep and unnatural, as if the building itself had taken a breath. The other workers ran past him, screaming, clutching tools and makeshift weapons. He wanted to move, but his legs felt heavy, nailed to the cold metal floor. "Where is it coming from?" shouted a voice behind him. A security officer struggled to aim a plasma rifle, but even he looked uncertain. The colony had drills, machines and containment protocols for many things, but nothing prepared them for this. Then the lights flickered one last time before plunging the hall into darkness. The air felt heavy, almost solid, and a metallic stench filled Jirin's nose. His heart pounded in his chest, loud enough that he thought the creature might hear it. And then he saw it. A shadow moved against the walls, impossibly fast, too large for any ordinary alien animal. Its limbs were long, sharp-edged, and glinted faintly in the emergency lights. Scales, or something like scales, shimmered with a strange pattern, reflecting starlight that didn't exist inside the colony. Jirin swallowed hard. The creature's head appeared in the corridor ahead, tall and spiky, eyes glowing faint gold. It sniffed the air, and the low growl turned into a sound almost like a hum vibrating through every bone in his body. "Jirin!" shouted another technician, a woman named Kira, grabbing his arm. "We have to move. Now." He wanted to follow, but curiosity rooted him in place. There was intelligence behind the creature's gaze, and a strange hesitation, like it was assessing him. He stepped forward almost instinctively despite the warnings screaming in his mind. The first strike came without warning. The floor trembled as the creature lunged toward a maintenance hatch, snapping the metal door like paper. Sparks erupted, smoke filled the air, and a nearby worker was thrown across the hall, screaming. Jirin's stomach knotted as he realized they weren't just facing a wild animal, they were facing something designed for destruction. The colony's PA system crackled to life. "Attention! Containment breach in Sector 7. All personnel evacuate immediately." People surged past, stumbling and shouting. Jirin ran toward the stairwell, Kira at his side, the sound of the creature following, heavy steps that made the ground quake. Each step sent a vibration through his chest, each breath tasted like fear. "Do you think it's intelligent?" Kira asked, her voice trembling. Jirin shook his head. "I don't know, but it's not just hunting. It's watching." A secondary threat revealed itself as they reached the stairwell. The structural alarms blared. A support beam above them groaned, cracks spreading like lightning. Dust and small debris rained down, forcing them to duck and cover. Kira cried out as a chunk of metal bounced dangerously close, narrowly missing her head. They reached the observation deck overlooking the colony's main hub. Through the thick glass, Jirin saw chaos on a scale he could barely comprehend. Workers fled through narrow corridors. Security drones buzzed uselessly around the creature, their energy nets melting on contact with its shimmering scales. Machinery exploded as the creature passed, leaving trails of fire and smoke. Its eyes, glowing in gold, scanned everything, aware, intelligent, terrifying. "Jirin." Kira grabbed his sleeve. "We can't stay here. It's going to—" The floor shook violently beneath them. The Leviathan, or whatever it was, had climbed the central support tower. Sparks flew as metal groaned under its weight. It paused for a moment, looking directly at them, tilting its head with an almost curious gesture. Jirin's heart stopped. The creature wasn't attacking now, it was calculating, waiting. The evacuation lights blinked and went out completely. Silence filled the colony, broken only by the soft, almost mocking hum of the creature moving closer. Jirin's mind raced. Every protocol, every emergency drill, every survival tactic. None of it seemed enough. He looked at Kira, and in her wide eyes, he saw the same terror and the same unspoken question. How do you fight something you can't even imagine? Suddenly, a sharp crack echoed from above. Dust fell from the ceiling, and a massive shadow blocked what little light remained. The creature had leapt into the central hub, knocking out the upper catwalks, its massive form almost filling the room. Jirin stumbled backward, heart hammering. Its glowing eyes locked onto him again, and a low, resonant sound vibrated through his chest. It was watching him, really watching. And in that instant Jirin knew, this was only the beginning. The red emergency lights flickered one last time, casting the colony in strobing shadows. Outside the reinforced windows, the cold void of space pressed in, silent and indifferent. Durin's breath came fast, ragged. The Leviathan let out a low, echoing roar that seemed to reach into his very bones. And then it moved toward him. The air smelled of burnt metal and fear. Durin's chest heaved as he backed toward the observation deck wall, eyes locked on the Leviathan. Its glowing golden eyes followed every small movement, each subtle shift in posture. The creature's massive claws scraped against the metal floor, leaving deep grooves, and sparks erupted where its scales brushed machinery. Kira clutched his arm, her nails digging into his sleeve. It's right there. What do we do? Her voice was tight with panic, yet beneath it, there was a flicker of determination. We have to get down, Durin whispered, though his hands shook. The stairwell, it's our only way out. But we have to move slow. If it sees us as prey, he didn't finish the sentence. He didn't need to. The Leviathan's head tilted, and a low hum resonated from its chest. It was more than a sound. It vibrated through the walls, through Durin's bones, unsettling in a way that made his stomach twist. Every instinct screamed at him to run, yet part of him couldn't look away. It wasn't mindless. It was intelligent. A sudden explosion rocked the corridor below. A security drone had attempted a plasma net, but it failed, shattering like glass. Debris rained down, and Kira yelped as a metal shard nicked her arm. Durin grabbed her, pulling her back behind a support column. The Leviathan's attention snapped toward the noise, its roar filling the hall with a pressure that rattled teeth and eardrums alike. This way. Durin hissed, spotting a maintenance hatch leading to a lower level. They sprinted, keeping low, hearts hammering. Sparks flew from exposed wiring overhead, and smoke stung their eyes. Every step brought them closer to the unknown, and closer to the Leviathan. As they descended into the maintenance tunnels, a sudden vibration ran through the floor. The creature had leapt down from the central hub above. A metallic shriek followed as it collided with a support wall, shaking the tunnel. Durin stumbled, catching Kira just in time as the wall quivered dangerously. They're fast, Kira gasped, her voice trembling. Too fast, nothing can stop it. Durin's jaw tightened. We'll have to be smarter. They reached a junction in the tunnels. The lights were flickering faintly, revealing the narrow passageways stretching like veins. Durin pressed his back against the wall, listening. The hum of the Leviathan grew louder, closer. Then came a sound that froze him, soft, deliberate, almost like clicking. Footsteps? Or something else? From the shadows, a pair of smaller figures appeared, pale and trembling. Colony workers, lost, cornered by smoke and debris. One of them, a young engineer, had a makeshift laser cutter in hand, shaking violently. It's hunting, he whispered, eyes wide with terror. We can't. Follow us. Durin barked. We can get you out. The group moved as one, careful to avoid making noise. But then the tunnel shuddered again. The Leviathan was here. No, it had been here. Deep claw marks ran across the floor, walls scraped, ventilation grates bent and twisted. The air grew hot. A faint, sulfur-like smell drifted from ahead. Suddenly, the creature's hum turned into a roar, echoing through the tunnels like a thunderclap. Dust and small debris fell from the ceiling. The workers froze. Kira gripped Durin's arm. It knows we're here, she gasped. Durin swallowed hard. We have to split. Draw its attention and lead it away from them. No. Kira protested, but he shook his head. There was no time for debate. He grabbed a maintenance flare from the wall, igniting it. Its bright orange light cut through the smoke and he threw it down the tunnel. The Leviathan's eyes snapped toward it instantly, glowing brighter. A massive roar followed. The floor vibrated as the creature lunged toward the flare, claws scraping against the metal. Durin and Kira sprinted down the opposite corridor, adrenaline coursing through every vein. The workers followed, terrified but moving. They turned a corner only to find the path blocked by collapsed debris. Panic surged. Kira's face was pale, eyes wide. We're trapped. Durin scanned quickly. Above them, an emergency ladder led to a catwalk. Up there, he shouted. They scrambled onto the ladder, muscles straining, hands raw from gripping metal. The Leviathan's roar grew louder, closer, shaking the walls with a force that made the ladder wobble. From below, a heavy thud reverberated as the creature smashed against the debris. Sparks flew. Durin's heart hammered. It was too close. Too strong. Too intelligent. And then, something strange happened. The Leviathan paused. Its head lifted slightly, nostrils flaring as if sensing something. It didn't pursue immediately. Instead, it made a slow, deliberate turn, following a path deeper into the tunnels. Jorin and Kira froze, exchanging a glance. They could hardly believe it. The creature had let them live, for now. But Jorin knew deep down this was only temporary. The star-forged Leviathan wasn't done observing. It was learning, waiting, calculating. And somewhere deep in the bowels of the colony, it had already decided its next move. Jorin and Kira crept along the catwalk, the dim emergency lights flickering, casting long shadows across the metal walls. The colony's tunnel stretched into darkness, winding like a maze, and every sound, every creak, drip, or distant hum, made their hearts jump. Below, the faint rumble of the Leviathan's movement reminded them that the creature was still close, waiting, watching. Kira's voice trembled as she whispered, "Do you think it's hunting us, or something else?" Jorin didn't answer immediately. He kept his eyes on the corridor ahead, noticing patterns in the debris, the way certain passages were untouched, almost deliberately. "It's smart," he finally said. "Too smart to just hunt blindly. I think it has a purpose. A plan." The words hung heavy in the air. Kira shivered. "A plan? What kind of plan kills everyone in its way?" Before Jorin could respond, a sudden series of vibrations shook the catwalk. Sparks rained down from overhead conduits. The Leviathan had moved again, faster than they expected. Its roar was muffled but unmistakable, echoing through the deep tunnels. Jorin grabbed Kira's arm, pulling her down behind a support beam. "Stay quiet," he hissed, muscles tense, eyes scanning. They watched as shadows flickered across the floor below. The Leviathan's massive claws scraped along the metal supports. It paused, and for a moment, its head lifted, golden eyes gleaming with something almost deliberate. Then, without warning, it turned sharply and disappeared into a side passage. Kira exhaled shakily. It's gone. For now." Jorin shook his head. "No. It's moving somewhere. Somewhere important." The two continued along the catwalk, descending deeper into the colony's lower sectors. They came across a room marked Research Wing. The door was ajar, hanging off its hinges. Inside, monitors flickered with static, and the smell of burnt circuits filled the air. But what caught their attention were the crates, sealed with alien markings, some scratched open, their contents partially destroyed. Jorin crouched beside one, brushing aside debris. His eyes widened. These aren't just supplies. These are containment units. Alien specimens, or weapons maybe?" Kira's eyes widened. "You mean, the Leviathan came from here?" He nodded slowly. "And I think it's not just here by accident. Someone, or something wanted it unleashed." Before they could react further, a metallic hiss echoed behind them. They spun to see a holographic screen flicker to life. A figure appeared, a human but not alive in the normal sense. Its face flickered in digital distortion, eyes glowing faintly red. "Welcome, Jorin," it said, voice cold and mechanical. "You were not meant to survive the initial breach." Kira grabbed his arm, panic rising. "Who is that? What are you?" "The project's overseer," the figure said. "I am the guardian of the star-forged Leviathan. Your colony was a test, a proving ground. And now, you interfere." Jorin's blood ran cold. "A test? You used your own people? Why?" The figure's voice softened, almost clinical. "The Leviathan is not simply a creature. It is evolution refined. Adaptable, intelligent, and capable of judgment. Humanity's response is data. Observation. Control is necessary." Kira's fists clenched. "You're insane. This is murder." The figure tilted its head. "Necessary. Evolution demands sacrifice." A loud crash interrupted the conversation. The Leviathan had entered the research wing. Its massive body pressed against the doorway, golden eyes scanning, nostrils flaring. The creature let out a low, resonant growl, almost as if it understood the conversation. Jorin's mind raced. It's aware of them. Of this experiment. The holographic figure's image flickered, voice rising with static. "Contain it. Do not let it escape beyond the colony." But the Leviathan didn't attack. Instead, it stepped closer to Jorin and Kira, its body enormous, shadowing the room, eyes fixed on them as if seeking understanding. Its hum reverberated through the metal floor, almost like a heartbeat. Jorin swallowed hard. "I think it's not our enemy. Not completely. It knows what's happening." Kira's voice was trembling. "Then, what do we do?" The Leviathan lowered its massive head, pressing against the control panel with its claws. Sparks flew and an alarm blared. Doors sealed, sections of the colony locked down. It was not a mindless beast, it was acting, choosing. Wanted something. Jiren realized the truth. It's helping us, in its way. But we have to be smart. It can't fight them all alone. The holographic figure's voice roared over the alarms. You will not survive this interference. Termination protocols activated. The lights flickered violently and the colony shook. Jiren and Kira exchanged a determined glance. There was no turning back. They had to follow the Leviathan, trust it, and confront whatever lay at the core of this conspiracy. As they moved toward the deeper, shadowed corridors, the Leviathan led, massive claws echoing against metal. Somewhere ahead, the secrets of the colony and the hidden agenda that had unleashed chaos awaited them. And in that dark, twisting maze, Jiren felt a chill run down his spine. This was far from over. The Leviathan was not just a creature. It was a key. The colony shook as alarms screamed in every corridor. Sparks danced across the walls, casting erratic light that made shadows leap like monsters. Jiren clutched Kira's arm, his knuckles white. Stay close. It's leading us somewhere, we just have to trust it. Kira swallowed, her chest tight with fear. Trust a monster? It's insane. What if it's tricking us? The Leviathan's massive form moved ahead, silent now except for the thrum of its claws on metal. Its golden eyes glowed faintly, scanning every junction. Every so often, it turned its head as if to make sure they were following. There was an intelligence in its movements, purposeful, deliberate. Jiren had never seen anything like it. They reached a junction where the tunnel split into 3 directions. The Leviathan stopped and pressed a massive claw against a hidden panel. A doorway slid open, revealing a secret chamber bathed in cold, blue light. Inside, rows of containment pods hummed, each holding strange alien forms, some dormant, some twitching as if alive. Jiren's jaw tightened. This is why it's here. These are the experiments, the creatures they've been keeping hidden. Kira's eyes widened, fear and awe mingling. Do you think it wants to free them? Before Jiren could answer, the holographic overseer reappeared, voice crackling through the chamber speakers. You are in violation of all protocols. The Leviathan is under my command. It will terminate you. The Leviathan's body tensed. Its roar echoed like rolling thunder, shaking the chamber. Sparks flew as the containment pods quivered. For a moment, it seemed like the creature was furious, but then it turned toward Jiren and Kira, lowering its head almost protectively. Jiren took a shaky breath. It's not listening to them. On our side. Somehow. Kira looked at the Leviathan, searching its eyes. Then we follow it. We have no choice. The creature pressed a claw against one of the pods. The glass cracked and a small alien being rolled out, trembling. Its body shimmered with iridescent light, fragile but alive. Jiren moved forward cautiously. It's helping them, saving them. A sharp metallic screech pierced the air. Doors slammed shut around the chamber. The overseer's holographic image flickered. Containment breach. Termination protocols active. You cannot survive this. Jiren grabbed Kira's hand. We need a plan. The Leviathan can't take all of them on alone. The creature turned abruptly, letting out a low, vibrating hum. Its claws scratched against the floor, creating sparks. Then it shifted, smashing panels and opening another hidden passage. Without hesitation, Jiren and Kira followed. As they moved deeper, the chamber behind them collapsed with a violent roar. The containment pods shattered, releasing smaller creatures. Some harmless, some twitching with latent energy. The Leviathan guided them, nudging frightened forms towards safety. Kira's voice quivered. It's actually thinking for them. Protecting them. But why us? Jiren shook his head, eyes on the corridor ahead. Maybe it recognizes we're the only humans willing to stop this. The only ones who can fight the real enemy. They reached the colony's central control hub. Screens flickered with red warnings. The overseer's voice was screaming now, desperate. You are destroying invaluable research. Cease immediately or all will die. The Leviathan moved to the center of the room, its body massive, shadowing everything. It pressed a claw against the main console. Sparks flew and alarms stuttered. Systems blinked out, doors unlocked, and the entire control grid shifted under its power. Jiren stared, mouth dry. It's taking control, not just breaking things. It knows exactly what to hit. Kira whispered, voice trembling, It's smarter than all of them combined. Smarter than anyone thought. Suddenly, A hatch opened above them and drones dropped from the ceiling, weapons ready. The Overseer's final line of defense. The Leviathan roared and the drones scattered, sparks flying. Jorin grabbed a fallen metal pipe, hurling it to disable one. Kira ducked as another missed by inches. The air was thick with tension, the hum of power and fear vibrating through every surface. Jorin's heart pounded. We have to trust it completely. It's the only way. The Leviathan pressed forward, smashing consoles, and the control hub went dark. The Overseer's hologram flickered violently, voice distorted. You will regret defying me. The Leviathan will destroy you. But instead of attacking, the creature positioned itself protectively around Jorin and Kira. Its golden eyes glowed fiercely, almost like a shield. Sparks flew, alarms wailed, and the room quaked. Jorin realized the truth. The Leviathan had chosen. It was no longer just a weapon. It was their ally, their guide, and perhaps the key to survival. Kira swallowed hard, tears mixing with grime on her face. We have to follow it, all the way. No turning back. Jorin nodded, gripping her hand. We trust it. We survive. Together. As they stepped into the next corridor, shadows stretching before them, the air thick with tension, the Leviathan's rumbling hum followed. A promise, a warning, and an unspoken question. Who would strike next? And could they survive the final revelation waiting at the heart of the colony? The lights flickered one last time, plunging the corridor into darkness. Then the faint glow of the Leviathan's eyes led the way. The corridor stretched before them, dark and jagged, echoing every footstep. The Leviathan's golden eyes pierced the gloom, moving with deliberate precision. Jorin and Kira followed, hearts hammering, senses sharp. Every corner could hide death. Every shadow could conceal the Overseer's drones. Do you feel it? Kira whispered, voice shaking. It's waiting. Jorin tightened his grip on her hand. Not waiting, hunting. And so are we. Ahead, the central chamber loomed, a massive arena of steel and light. The Overseer's mainframe blinked violently, pulsating like a heart ready to explode. Its holographic form appeared, larger, distorted, furious. You think you can destroy my work? You cannot survive what is coming. The Leviathan stepped forward, massive claws scraping metal. Sparks flew with each movement. Its roar shook the walls, a warning, a challenge. Jorin and Kira crouched low behind it, feeling its power radiate like a shield. Without warning, automated turrets emerged from the walls, firing beams of energy that cut through the air. The Leviathan moved like liquid metal, blocking strikes with its massive body, smashing turrets with powerful swipes. Jorin and Kira sprinted, dodging debris, hearts pounding. We have to reach the mainframe. Jorin shouted over the roar and the chaos. It's the only way to end this. Kira nodded, fear and determination mixing. Together. The Leviathan led them through the barrage, pressing against walls, leaping over obstacles, its body a wall of muscle and instinct. The room shook with explosions and collapsing metal. Sparks rained like fireflies. Smaller creatures, freed from the containment pods, scurried through the wreckage, following the Leviathan. They were fragile but alive, trembling in the storm of destruction. Stop trying to protect us. Jorin yelled at the Leviathan, dodging another blast. We can fight too. The creature's roar was a deep vibration that shook the ground. It lowered its massive head, eyes locking on Jorin and Kira. It was a command, not a threat. Trust it completely and survival was possible. They reached the mainframe. Jorin slammed his hands on the console, overriding protocols as Kira directed the energy beams. Sparks exploded. The Overseer screamed through the speakers, distorted and frantic. You will fail. All will burn. The Leviathan leaped into the center of the room, slamming its claws into the floor. The vibrations pulsed through the metal, causing wires and circuits to snap. Lights flickered. Screens cracked. The smaller creatures surged forward, overwhelming remaining drones, biting and clawing at anything that moved. Kira's voice broke through the chaos. Jorin. It's working. Keep pushing. Jorin's fingers flew over the controls, overriding the mainframe's security protocols. Sweat and grime streaked his face. Almost, there, just a little longer. The Overseer's hologram flickered violently. You will regret this. I control the Leviathan. It belongs to me. The Leviathan's roar cut through the message, a sound filled with defiance and fury. It raised its massive body, smashing the mainframe's core with crushing force. Sparks and energy arcs exploded in every direction. The hologram shattered, dissolving into static. Silence followed, heavy and complete, broken only by the Leviathan's deep, rumbling breath. Jiren and Kira collapsed to the floor, gasping. "We did it," Kira whispered, tears streaming down her face. We survived." The Leviathan lowered its massive head toward them, eyes softening. It nudged Kira gently, almost like an embrace. The smaller creatures circled, chirping or humming in alien tones, freed at last. Jiren looked around at the destruction, the shattered mainframe, the twisted metal, the chaos of freedom, but also at the Leviathan and the small rescued beings. "We didn't just survive, we saved them. We proved something." Kira nodded, overwhelmed with emotion. Humans can fight for life. For others. Even against impossible odds. The Leviathan let out a final, low rumble, turning toward the exit. Jiren and Kira followed, hearts still racing. Outside, the first rays of a distant sun broke over the colony's horizon, painting the scorched metal with gold. Smoke rose from the wreckage, but life persisted. Small alien forms scuttled toward safety. The Leviathan paused, watching them, then disappeared into the shadows beyond, leaving the humans with the victory and the memory of an ally they had come to trust. Jiren fell to his knees, gripping Kira's hand. "We stood together, and we made it. Against all of it." Kira leaned against him, exhausted but smiling through tears. "They'll remember this. Not the destruction, but the courage, the choice to survive, the choice to protect life." From the distance, a faint shimmer marked the Leviathan's path into the unknown, massive and majestic. Jiren felt a strange warmth, a mix of awe and gratitude. "It wasn't just a monster," he said quietly. "It was a teacher. A reminder that even in the darkest places, we can be better than fear." Kira smiled faintly, looking at the sunlit ruins. "We faced the impossible. And we won. Together." Above, the sky burned with streaks of red and gold. The colony lay in silence, battered but alive, a testament to courage, trust, and the enduring strength of humanity. For the first time in days, the humans dared to breathe, knowing that even against a galaxy's most terrifying creature, they had stood, they had fought, and they had survived. And somewhere, deep in the shadows of the universe, the Leviathan watched, waiting, a silent guardian of life it had chosen to protect.